Bulldog Radio Network proudly presents The Coach Minnick Show with hosts Mike Davis and Jim Dickerson. And here's the head coach of the 2023 state champion Kearney Bulldogs, Coach Logan Minnick.
Welcome to the Coach Minnick Show. I am your host, Mike Davis, along with Kelly Gentry and the coach of your 4-0 Kearney Bulldogs defending state champions, Coach Logan Minnick. Welcome to the show, Coach.
Glad to be here, boys. Enjoy it.
I am glad you're here. And in fact, the Kearney Bulldogs have national acclaim now. Such notoriety. And it is all because of our kicking team. Kelly, tell us about it.
Well, yeah, it was a big win over Park Hill, obviously. And when we're talking about the kicking game, we were just talking to Coach about it. Jacob Dillon, Kearney's kicker, had a really good night. 5 for 5 on point after attempts, a 39-yard field goal, 6 touchbacks on kickoffs. But the notoriety that we're talking about came from the punting game. And so far we're talking about over 1.9 million views on CBS Sports for a punt that Jacob executed and the entire punt team executed during the game Friday. Let's take a look at it.
As they will put the tee down and have Dillon, who's got this powerful. This is totally legal, folks, what they're doing here. They'll just kick it. Yes, this is a unique deal. Brad Dahl, the backup quarterback, holding, and look at the leg on this guy. He sends it down the field. And look at this. Are you kidding me? Down near the 1-yard line? Wow, that's a weapon. That is an all-state kicker. Talking about Anna kicking for Park Hill. How about 23 in purple? Jacob Dillon. Well, this is a unique way to do it, but this is legal.
Yeah, so part of the reason why it's legal, as you mentioned, Kevin, is because there's a tee, so the ball doesn't touch the ground. So technically, whether you punt it conventionally or you kick it off the tee, because the ball is not on the ground, it's a legal play. Don't see very many instances where that happens.
All right. Unbelievable, Coach. I understand you've had a few phone calls over the course of this past week. Tell us about that.
It's been pretty wild, obviously, with it going viral or whatever the kids call it. It's been pretty crazy, you know, and we talked about it as a staff. It was just kind of so funny as a staff of when we kind of came up with this and we were tinkering with it a little bit in practice. We're like, are we actually going to run this in a game? And the more we practice it, we're like, yeah, I think we're going to, and it's gone pretty crazy from there. Then obviously with it going crazy this week, I've probably had 50 either text calls or emails from coaches around all over. You know, I've talked to coaches in California, I've talked to coaches in Georgia. I sent some film to a coach in Illinois yesterday, so it's been pretty wild on, you know, how it's gone. It's probably going to be one of these things where they change the rules on it next year, as we've kind of found a little loophole here with it. And then the funny thing I keep telling people, it's like getting all this notoriety about this team that we have to send out there when we didn't do our job on offense. Yeah. It's like, yeah, everybody's excited about this punt team. I don't want to ever send that team out there on the field.
That's a good point.
But no, it's been great to us. And when you've got a kicker as talented as Jacob Dillon who can put it, you know, anywhere on the field off of that block, it makes it's definitely unique and different. And like, as you guys know, and a bunch of people that watched it on TV and all the comments are like, well, the returner just needs to catch it and yada, yada. And normally we're trying to kick that thing out of bounds. And we've told Jacob if they're too tight and you know you can kick it over their heads or kick it away from them, you know, get after it. He's so talented, you know, with his leg talent and those things. So it's been pretty wild. And we're still learning, you know, how to morph this thing into things. And so other teams, we're going to see new looks and new things teams are going to try to do against it as well. So, like when these coaches are asking all these questions, I'm like, guys, I don't know. We've been running it for a month. So it's but you're definitely going to see some more teams running it, because I've had several coaches reach out and tell me they're going to run it this week and try it. And so pretty cool for our kids. I'm just glad for our kids to get some publicity. You know, I've had probably 5 to 10 coaches call this week wanting to recruit Jacob Dillon as a kicker this week as a product of this thing going viral. So exciting for him, excited for our team just to get a little bit of publicity. And but like I said, it's on a team that we don't want to send out there on the field anyway. But it's been pretty cool.
Well, that's fantastic, and congratulations, by the way, on the 38-17 win over Class 6 Park Hill. And, I asked you after the game, is this a statement win? And you shifted immediately to the kids' preparation over the course of the offseason and the fact that they spend what they do in the weight room, the time they spend in the weight room, and how that's paid off. And I think we saw that last Friday evening. And so let's talk about the fitness of more than anything, I think, is the extra effort that they're putting in during the off season and in the weight room.
Right. We know going into 2 games and 2 seasons, and we're going to play a lot of teams that have, at times have more athletes on the field overall than we do. But where we make our hay is our kids take so much pride in that weight room. We're going to try to be bigger, stronger, and develop our speed and our athleticism through the weight room. I think it was quite evident Friday that a huge part of that victory was they wanted to spread it around and throw it all over the field. Well, they averaged like 1.4 yards per carry on the rush, so you weren't going to run it at us. And then when we needed to take care of business, we had 53 rushes for over 330 yards. So, and that has nothing to do with athleticism. That's called we get after it in the weight room. And when it's time to be the bully, we're going to be the bully, regardless of Class 4, Class 6. We told our kids all week, there's only 11 guys on the field, regardless if they have, a school enrollment of over 2,000 kids. Did those 11 kids lift harder and lift more in the weight room than we did? And, I think the answer to that quite a bit is no, or quite often for us. So I think, as you said, is it a statement win? I think it's a program win. It sells the Kool-Aid we're trying to get our kids to drink on how important that weight room is. And then, so, that gets, we have all our freshmen enrolled in weights. We get our 8th graders in beginning weights. The parents understand, yes, we got to get up at 6 a.m. and get them there for their spring off-season lifts and after-school weights because it does correlate to wins on the football field.
Well, obviously, it showed the other night, and, you could look at the teams side by side. In fact, I mentioned it to one of the guys a couple of weeks ago. I think it might have been Ariano when I spoke to him about it, as they the side-by-side visual comparison between them and Smithville. And he essentially echoed what you just said, that, look, we spend this time in the weight room, we're doing all these things. When it starts to show up on the field, though, that's when you don't even have to make a case for it anymore.
Right.
They've proven it to themselves, which I think is terrific. And not to mention the fact that you forced Park Hill into being just completely one-dimensional.
Right.
And they could not run the ball. But guess who could? I know who could. Temple and Emmons both, we had just incredible numbers of, and I was looking for the total rushing yards, 338 rushing yards. That's controlling the game right there. Right. And both Grant Nolan is a guy that, to me, is now he had 52 receiving yards. Sorry, Corbin Emmons had 168 yards, right? And then
Tristan Williams.
Tristan had 106.
Yeah, exactly.
So he had 2 guys over 100 yards. So all that to say, yeah, you're controlling the line of scrimmage. And these guys obviously aren't doing this by themselves, and they
right.
both said as much in post-game interviews. But let's talk about those guys up front.
Yeah. Offensive line-wise, like we said last year, we knew coming into this year when you had Joe and Tyrus back as your all-state lineman, you had Ace Biddix, all-conference back from last year. Callum Bomar started several games for us before, thank God, he didn't get injured in the Powder Puff game this year like he did last year. We had a rule this year. You do not jump and celebrate at the Powder Puff game. So you had 4 kids back there, and then you had a Nick Balabre, who was a good player for us last year, who didn't get a ton of tight end time because he was playing behind Bryce Page. So we knew we had a good player there, and we told him he kind of just ate his way to the offensive line this year. So you've got a right guard who's really athletic, who used to be a tight end, so we can do a lot of things. And we've heard a lot of people talking about, oh, you guys always run left. You always run left. We are running heavily left to that side, but we keep you honest with all the athletic stuff to the right. So because with Nick and Cal and Bomar there on the right side, we're running more option game and counter and trap, and so we're not just running left. We're keeping you honest on the right, and we're running, different schemes up front to keep people honest. So, and then give a shout out to Drew Nelson too. He keeps asking me every week. We always at our team meals on Fridays with the offensive line eat first, then we go seniors, juniors, and he told me, he goes, Coach, I haven't caught a pass all year. Can I start eating with the offensive line? So he may get to tomorrow. He played really well, and that's not that Drew can't catch passes. You may see him catch a few this tomorrow. But that group up front's playing really well, and then huge shout-out to our backs. Our backs are running hard. Gosh dang, they're running hard, and I was so excited to see Corbin finally break out and have the game. He's been playing well all year. I think he just finally had the breakout game where he's getting some of the publicity he deserves on that. Because I think we've kind of got like a thunder and lightning combo back there of Tristan's running really hard between the tackles right now and can get it on the edge. I think you just see a shift in speed when Corbin gets the football. So we know at any point Corbin can go the house from almost anywhere. So we've got a really good combination there, and both backs will block for each other, so they're so both unselfish there. So we're really blessed to have, you don't always get two tailbacks that are willing to block for each other or that'll throw it in there like that. But we've got a great 1-2 punch back there with those two going right now.
Yeah, you ran the ball 35 times between those two guys. When you said,
right,
yeah, that is ball control.
Yeah, and like you said, it was some tough sledding, right?
Yes.
I mean,
Right.
between the tackles and I mentioned that to Tristan when we interviewed him, and then you also had Carter Temple, who's a great weapon,
Right.
Dual threat running the ball, added another 62 yards. So, yeah, just a tremendous, and I love talking to the offensive linemen afterwards because it's a symbiotic relationship.
Right.
They're like, we get so fired up when those guys are running that hard, and the line and the backs are like, hey, we're fired up. These guys are opening up 4-yard holes for us to
Right.
run through.
Yeah, you're going to hear that on our interview. It was with Joe Sharons, and he talks about it. He says he just loves watching those guys run. He said,
Right.
And the thing is it's about I hear them say trust. They use that word, and that's not the first time I've heard that in some of these interviews, that they trust each other. And I mean, how can you not? I mean, it's just week after week.
Right.
And I guess to me, that's got to be one of the toughest things that you just, even during the games, and I've asked a couple of the kids, I don't see any letdown. I just don't see any letdown during the game. And then I go back to the next game, and we're playing a Class 6 team. We're going to play a Class 6 team again this Friday night. And I have yet to see any level of letdown from anywhere
Right.
in any way. I mean, that's all about coaching.
I don't know. That's all coaching. We've got some really tough-minded kids who are believing in each other. I think you guys use the word trust, but they know, like we said up front, those guys know up front if we give them a little bit of space, they're going to run behind their shoulder pads, and we're going to continue to move the sticks. Big part of our offensive game plan Friday was to, eat some clock, run the football, control the game from that aspect, because they did have an offense that throws it all over the field that's super explosive. I never did get official what the time of possession on the game was, but I know we dominated that part of the game. So
For sure.
we told our kids all week, our defense plays the best defense. They don't give up any yards when our offense is on the field. So if we can continue to do that, and we're definitely not. And I told the kids, we're not the offense that we're going to run it all the way down under 5 and then do that. We still want to score points, and we want to score it in bunches. But at the same time, there's some strategy that goes into playing complementary football. Of that's an explosive offense over there. We'll just control the ball while still scoring it. So I thought our kids played that really well Friday.
And that's a luxury to be able to do that, right? That you
Right.
were able to run it that effectively. I mean, it was just tremendous. And the other thing I was going to mention to you, Coach, too, I know your coaching staff got recognized as the coaching staff of the week last week. The number of well-executed plays in this game by Kearney, and taking nothing away from Park Hill, I mean, but it was noticeably different, whether it was a hook and ladder play, it was the onside kick, it was the we showcased the punt that you get pinned them down into the one. They went for it on fourth down at midfield. Theo gets a big sack. You flip the field and score again. I mean, just the number of executed plays. I mean, I just felt like you guys were hitting on all cylinders on Friday.
Yeah, Friday was definitely complete. All around team win. We won in all three phases there. As you said, huge play before half. Like, surely they're not going to go for this, with it. Because at the time we're just thinking, let's get 10, 15 yards and let Jacob hammer one from plus 50. I was like, gosh, we just talked about on the show last week. Jacob's going to kick a 54-yarder right here before half. Here it comes.
Yeah.
So we're on Spectrum. It's going to be on TV. Here it comes. And then I was like, well, they're not really guarding Grant on the backside post here. Let's take a shot. Then we'll kick a field goal. And what a throw. What a throw by Carter Temple. What a route and way to hold on to it by Grant. Gets both feet down and takes a shot in the back of the end zone to hold on to it. And then the pass pro up front was Carter had all the time in the world to put that thing right there. So just a huge execution play from our offense on a huge play. That shifts the whole game there. It's 10-3 at that point. Maybe we go in 13-3 if we kick a field goal. Now it's 17-3 and we're getting the football. So that was huge play by the defense to make that stop. Huge play by the offense to take advantage and score points.
I think Brian's got that as actually, Coach. We had that as our play of the game, I believe.
Carter Temple has three receivers split to the far side, one to the near side. Takes the snap. He rolls immediately to his left, looking to his right, deep into the end zone. He has Grant Nolan. Touchdown! Touchdown, Grant Nolan on an outstanding throw by Carter Temple. And that was a 35-yard touchdown pass.
Carter Temple had that thing timed beautifully. And Grant Nolan never broke stride, and that ball landed right in his hands and right at the back of the end zone. And he did a little somersault when he fell down, but got up no worse for the wear. And he's jogging back to the sideline, and to tell you folks, that is huge. Indeed, it was. It was. I thought, okay, well, we're going to go in with a decent lead at half, and this will be okay. And boom. Yep. And you saw it. The ball could not have been thrown any better, and the speed. You just can't get over the speed, and it's across the board on your team. But you could tell that the timing had been well rehearsed.
Yep, we talked about that either last week or the week before of how much we rep throwing that post, because we love to throw that post route. It's been a huge part of our offense, here for now 3 years in a row, and Carter's got a giant arm, so if we can just get it reeled in at times to put it, he could not have thrown that in a tighter window and right on the money. And when Grant Nolan takes off and runs full speed as fast as he can, you've got a kid that can throw it as far as Grant can run that fast. There's a lot of coaching that really goes in with that. Great execution by those guys. Yeah. Like I said, we were giving the guys a little crap there at the end. It was like Grant's rolling around on the rubber of the track down there, and they're all jumping. I'm like, guys, let him get up. I thought maybe he was banged up or hurt. He didn't get a chance to get up and catch his breath or anything before the whole team's on him there. But just two explosive players, and we're blessed to have both those kids on our team.
No doubt about that, Coach. Let's take a quick break. You're listening to or watching the Coach Minnick Show. Stay with us. We'll be back with more. Today's business environment is more challenging than ever before. Exceeding customer expectations and staying ahead of the competition make dependable air travel essential to your business. The time-saving convenience of aircraft ownership is a more realistic solution than you might think. Imagine no lines, no waiting, and the ease of traveling on your own schedule. EquityJet is a full-service aviation management company. From aircraft acquisition, refurbishment, crew services, maintenance, and door-to-door travel service, EquityJet gets you where you're going quickly and comfortably. Find out how EquityJet can help streamline your jet travel needs. For more information, visit equityjet.net or call 816-804-7072. EquityJet. Travel is more than just getting there, it's how you get there.
All right, Kelly Gentry here for KMO-TV at Kearney High School, where Kearney just defeated the Park Hill Trojans 38-17. Joined here by senior running back Tristan Williams, number 24, who just had a huge night running for the Bulldogs. And Tristan, the first thing I wanted to ask you about, and we talked to Joe about it a little bit too, big stage here tonight. Kearney has never played a Class 6 school, welcoming Park Hill in. On top of that, it's the local TV station game of the week, TV cameras, all that here. How did you handle that and prepping for the game?
Came in a little nervous, but after I get the ball a few times, I feel like I'm pretty good.
Once you get a few hits under your belt?
Yeah. I get used to it pretty quickly.
Then you're just focusing on football at that standpoint, I'm sure. Well, tell us, I tell you, we were talking about it. We've seen you. I've known you since you were little. This is probably the best game that I've seen you had from a running back at the high school level, and just so physical and gutsy tonight. Tell us a little bit about what you were looking for and what you were able to do tonight from the running back position.
Well, honestly, I was just trying to keep going forward. I didn't want to lose any negative yards or set the team back, and our O-line was going crazy tonight.
Well, we talked to Joe. Tell us a little bit about the O-line. Were they just creating some huge holes for you to get through? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, we were getting about 5 or 6 yards before we even get touched, both me and Corbin. So, yeah, it was pretty good.
Well, your dad's one of the coaches on the team, a pretty successful player himself. You had some tremendous spin moves off of contact. Is that something that your dad taught you? Is that just a natural thing? Tell us a little bit. I mean, because you weren't going down at first contact. Tell us a little bit about that spin move.
Yeah, he coached me up pretty well, I'm not going to lie. But, I just try to keep moving forward, honestly.
Yeah. Well, you were definitely falling forward, and one of our senior leaders on the team, you're 4-0. Tell us about what you're looking forward next week. You have North Kansas City coming in, another Class 6 school.
Yeah, we got another Class 6 school coming in for homecoming. I think we're going to get after them.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on a huge night, Tristan. Congratulations. Keep it going the rest of the season, and it's just been a pleasure watching you. Kelly Gentry with senior running back Tristan Williams tonight from Kearney High School, where they defeated Park Hill 38-17.
Uh, 38-17 sounds pretty good anytime, but against a Class 6 opponent, it sounds a little better, a little sweeter. Although I think I'm beginning to see there's some parity throughout a lot of these schools up here north of the river. I know, we know Liberty North has just been terrific, and we've seen it. Platte County's doing really well now in Class 5 and so forth. But I just think that we seem to be, sort of evening out at the talent level from the standpoint of, I think, team-wide. So if you can get a few of your athletes together doing the same thing week after week, it's, I would say, regardless of the class, you've got a pretty good chance of beating just about anybody.
Yeah, we'd like to think so. Like I said, we've got a really good group right now. I was just thinking after watching that, we need to get Kelly to school and practice with a microphone around Tristan, because that's the least amount of talking I think he's done. So I don't know what it was about the camera or the mic, but there may be something there. But no, shout out to Tristan. He's having a phenomenal year this year. And proud of the way he's playing and proud of the way he's handling himself as a young man. And he's grown up quite a bit this year, so we're really excited for his future and what he's doing for us right now. So But I knew I had to give him a little bit of trouble on that just because he was very short in some answers there when that's not Tristan whatsoever. But, but yeah, we've got a really good thing going right now, and I just love how the kids, when they get in those interviews, because we don't coach them up on those things. You know, I get nervous sometimes. We throw a kid out there, I don't know. But just shows how unselfish they are and how humble they are. It seems like every kid we talk to is giving credit to their offensive line, or when you talk to the offensive line, they're talking about how well the backs are running, or, you know. So I'm really proud of how our kids are handling that, because the more wins we get, the more publicity we're going to get. So it's good to know that they're handling things the right way.
Well, he was absolutely right about the, especially late in the game, the 5 or 6 yards per carry without being touched. I mean, we saw it. We witnessed it, especially in the fourth quarter. I mean, you could tell that you guys were just wearing them slick in the Park Hill secondary, and they wanted no part of that. And especially with Tristan. I mean, he's just such a powerful runner. And there was one play in particular that we could see. We got a really good glimpse of how his legs were still churning, even after he had, you know, he was covered up, you know, by Park Hill defenders.
I think that was the one he rolled over a couple of guys.
Yes,
he didn't go down. He kept his body.
And if you want to coach, you know, draw a picture of that and say all your running backs do this. And that was fantastic. And he just did it all night long. And again, you know, credit to the guys up front, but. Man, you put that kind of power together with the speed and power of an offensive line, and man, you're dangerous all of a sudden.
Yeah, no, funny about that play, because he was so excited to see it on film because he landed on a couple bodies, and then he just kind of keeps going and gets 4 or 5 more yards. So we intentionally, when he got on top of those bodies, we just went to the next clip. He's like, no, there's more on there. And I'm like, I didn't see nothing. But so we went back and watched it. But we knew he was anticipating, so excited about everybody seeing that play. So we immediately hit the click to the next one, and just to get a little razz out of him. But yeah, we're running the football really hard right now, and we'll have to make an adjustment at some point when teams start loading the box. I think we've done a good job of taking our shots over the top and being good with them, and I think Carter is getting better and better every week. So you're going to continue to see this offense, you know, kind of turn back into of what we've had in the past.
Yeah, go ahead, Kelly.
Oh no, I was go ahead and finish up on the.
Well, I was just going to say Carter had that 18-yard touchdown that was a design keeper. You could tell that late in the game, and you know, gave Kearney a 31-17 lead, and I mean he made it look easy. I mean, he really has the ability to. He could be a running back on this team, but don't do that. I like his arm too.
No, he could play about anywhere on the field, boys.
Yeah, you mentioned he was linebacker too.
He started a couple games on the varsity as a freshman linebacker last year.
Yeah.
So we know we've got a gifted athlete there that he's just a physical specimen of a football player. You know, it's not like when you run the quarterback, you've got, you know, your typical 6 foot, 170-pound quarterback back there. He's 6'3", about 200 pounds. So he's looking for contact when he's running the football, which is something you don't get out of a quarterback a lot. And then what I love about our offense, again, on those design quarterback run plays, he's either faking it to the backs who want the football, but they're going to carry out their fakes, or on that play you talked about, both backs are lead blocking on that play. So they're really understanding the team concept and the unselfishness of, you know, how a complete offense works. And, you know, when you've got the amount of weapons we have right now that are all willing to block and willing to run the football, you know, it makes us pretty tough to defend.
Coach, one of the things I wanted to ask you about too, you had told us last week that one of the keys to the game this week was how your defensive backfield would play, the secondary, both, you know, defending passes against their potent wide receiver team, and also how well they tackled in space, and whether it was Grant, Trey, Trent, or Trent. It seemed like we called all those guys' name at one point, and even Angelo when he came in, when Trey got dinged up there a little bit. Maybe talk a little bit about how well the defensive backfield played against a potent Park Hill passing game.
Yeah, I thought our defense was lights out. Majority of the night we had, you know, 2 little blown coverages that made the yardage look, you know, way more than what we did play defensively. I thought at times we were absolute dominant, at times forced, 3 and out after 3 and out after 3 and out several times, or when they got a little frustrated, they want to go for it at times, and we're playing really good defense. I mean, I thought you saw, other than the 2 plays, we kept it in front. We tackled it really well. I thought we were physical with the receivers. There were a couple PIs in there. We'll handle those. We're going to be physical in the back end. Those are hustle plays where we're getting after people. And then I thought our D-line was really dominant, because we were asking them to stop the run with a 3-man front and just Theo in the box. You shouldn't be able to stop the run with a 4-man box when they've got 5 or 6 guys in there. So their the front 4, including Theo's job all week, was you're the run stoppers. You stop the run, we can drop 7 into coverage here, and we can take away everything else. And so I thought Coach Brinkley and those guys put together a phenomenal game plan. I thought the kids executed it. Huge shout out to Angelo Donzi coming out there. Wintrey did get dinged up a little bit there and played. We didn't miss a beat when he came in there. So we've got a bunch of kids understanding, what defense is and how to leverage it. And I thought that was a great game for us, because at some point again we're going to see somebody who wants to spread it around and throw it around. And when you can play Class 6 school and get that kind of speed and that kind of execution and form a game plan, because there was plenty we had to fix from both offensively and defensively. It's never as good as it looks or as bad. So we've done a lot of work and got some things corrected, and so there's a lot of coachable film in there too. So we got, not only did we win the game, we got a lot better on Sunday when we went through that game film.
A couple of things I've noticed, speaking of your secondary, is the pass defense that seemingly over the course of these last couple of games, I've noticed that the officials are letting these kids play. In other words, I've seen a couple of plays where I think a year or 2 ago you would have seen the yellow flag come out, but I've actually seen a sort of a reach over the shoulder, sort of defending, bounce the ball, bat the ball away, and a couple of others that were sort of NFL-like plays that on an ordinary day in high school football you might perhaps see a flag. Am I just imagining that, or are they loosening up, or what's happening there?
I think we're just kind of getting all the breaks like the Chiefs are right now. We're just, we're just cheating is what we're doing.
That's it.
No, I think, in high school, let them play a little bit.
Yeah.
And we coach our defensive backs to be physical and put a hand on the hip and lean on them. And, and if those couple of those get called early, we'll make an adjustment where we're not playing that way. But, everything about our football program is going to have some kind of physicality in it. And that's just going to be our brand of football. And like I said, if we need to adjust, because we did have, I think, 2 or 3 pass interference calls in the game. One was definite, and then another one I thought, that's not really much. And then there was 1 or 2 others that could have or couldn't have went that way. So at least when you're getting those kind of calls, you're in coverage. You're not away from people. So I thought, we were in their hip pocket. We were playing good defense, and at times their quarterback had some time to throw because we were plugging our defensive line and stuff rather than going true pass rush to stop the run at times. So I thought our kids played really well, and some PI passes are going to happen because we're going to play physical.
Well, the thing that if you're that close, it means that you're doing your job in the secondary, and I just love it. And I think there was one, and I can't remember, might have been Trent Dostal, or I'm not sure, that somebody, and I can't even point to which specific game it was, but I can remember, was able to reach over the shoulder and bat the ball away as he was trailing the receiver, and it was just a thing of beauty.
Well, I was even thinking about from this week, I know Trent Frintz had a couple of them where I thought the timing was just perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, just, you're right there, you get the hand up, deflect the ball. I mean, I thought some of their timing was just great because Park Hill, I know one of those kids is one of the top receivers in the Kansas City metro area. I think he was the one that caught one. They moved him out of the backfield, I think, that time. But I mean, he was pretty well shut down except for those two plays. So, but hats off to the DBs.
Yeah, that was that Dante Dixon?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He had the 30 and the 80. So he had those 2 plays for touchdown were 110 yards.
Yeah.
I mean,
he was a phenomenal player, boys, and he could run.
Yes.
If there's anybody on the field that could match Grant's Nolan speed, that kid could.
Yeah.
I thought, other than the big post, I would not have liked to given up once we got up there. The big long one, when that's definitely the time where you need to stay over the top of everything. I thought we did a great job on him. And as you said, the 30-yarder, they snuck him out of the backfield. They had him lined up in the backfield and ran. It was just a built play to create some confusion, and they got us on that one. Sometimes they make some good play calls.
Yeah.
I don't like it when they do, but sometimes, they coach their kids sometimes too.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I thought our kids did a great job on that, and then, that was kind of a point of emphasis for us on offense as well, because he's their starting corner. We were cracking our receivers on the safeties to intentionally make him have to make tackles. Because we knew he's going to catch a bunch of balls on offense. We're going to try to wear him out and make him, okay, you want to play both ways. You get to tackle Tristan, you get to tackle Corbin over and over and over. So
Have fun with that.
So that kid's a heck of a player because he played both ways the entire game and made several plays.
No doubt about it. Go ahead, Kelly. Look, I thought you had something there.
No, I mean, I just wanted to compliment them, and we've talked about the linebackers all year, and you just look at some of these defensive stats again, whether it's sacks and you mentioned the defensive line, but Theo with another big night, kind of the leading overall tackler, but you had a lot of guys close to double-digit tackle from the linebacker position. I mentioned Trent Fritz had 9 from the safety spot too, so I don't know if you want to talk about your defense and the tackling.
Yeah, as we talked, we knew it was going to be a game where you had to make tackles in open space, and I thought our kids did that over and over and over again, and I thought Jacob Dillon played well. There were several plays where they would like to sneak a receiver or stuff out the backside of stuff where Jacob's over there, and he was so smart. Took away, one of their favorite plays is they sneaked the tight end out the backside, and we were all over it. There were several plays that Jacob made and that Fritz made in the game that you guys never saw because they didn't throw the ball where they wanted to. So there were several of those where, you could tell those two were in on their film study and knew where they needed to be on certain plays that took away plays that never happened because, they were in the right spots.
2 guys that had sacks, one Theo Grace and Isaac Beaver had one. And I think both of those plays were those plays where when you see the hit and there's an audible response in the booth. That, it's like, wow.
We usually let it go in the booth too.
I listen to the show on Saturdays when we're breaking down film. Every time, you guys are pretty funny up there. But,
we can feel it.
And both of those sacks resulted in Theo's was a turnover on downs. Isaac's was a turnover strip sack there. So those, when we did get to the quarterback, those were huge plays in the game to give the offensive football back.
Yeah, lots of fun.
Yeah, and I thought they had a talented offensive line too.
Yep.
I mean, they were huge.
They
were huge.
They were class 6 on both
both
lines of scrimmage. I can promise you that. Like, they were bigger in pregame than what we thought on film. I was like, and then it was like, oh man,
they got some size.
They got some grown men just like we do.
Yes, we had fun with that whole grown men thing. That was interesting. As after you guys walk into the handshake, which is a very cool part of the end of a game and great representation of sportsmanship. A lot of times you'll hear things that one of the kids will say to the other, and generally it's complimentary. And is there anything like that, any anecdotal stuff that you can think of after a game like that you heard from Friday night?
No, I can tell you some of their kids that were on the social medias and some of those things that were probably talking a little more than they should have all week were actually quite quiet in the handshake after the game.
I got you.
But and that's something that's just silliness and that needs to stay out of it. And we try to teach our kids and coach our kids up to stay out of that nonsense. You don't need to give anybody any added motivation to want to beat us. Everybody wants to already to begin with. But other than that, but no, their kids throughout the game and all that, they were very respectful. Coach Sims does a great job of those kids up there, so there wasn't any of that kind of negativity or nastiness during the game. So I thought both sides played hard, and once the thumb stopped working and it's time to actually put the pads on and go, the pads speak for themselves when it comes to some of that stuff.
Yeah, they used to call that bulletin board material, but
Yep.
it's all social media material.
Yeah.
Now, so we're
No
going to take
bulletin
another
boards
quick.
anymore.
Yep, indeed. We're going to take another quick break. Stay with us on the Coach Minnick Show. We'll be back with more. Today's business environment is more challenging than ever before. Exceeding customer expectations and staying ahead of the competition make dependable air travel essential to your business. The time-saving convenience of aircraft ownership is a more realistic solution than you might think. Imagine no lines, no waiting, and the ease of traveling on your own schedule. EquityJet is a full-service aviation management company. From aircraft acquisition, refurbishment, crew services, maintenance, and door-to-door travel service, EquityJet gets you where you're going quickly and comfortably. Find out how EquityJet can help streamline your jet travel needs. For more information, visit equityjet.net or call 816-804-7072. EquityJet. Travel is more than just getting there, it's how you get there.
Kelly Gentry here for KMO-TV at Kearney High School, where your Kearney Bulldogs defeated the Class 6 Park Hill Trojans 38-17 tonight. And I'm joined by senior offensive tackle Joe Schranz. We're going to call him the road grader because he is piling some people up on these running plays tonight. And Joe, first of all, I wanted to ask you, this is the first time that we're aware of that we could find out that Kearney has played a Class 6 school. Wanted to kind of get your perspective on that as you guys were preparing this week to welcome Park Hill here to Kearney High School and kind of what you went through to prepare for it.
Okay. It's hard to tell the level they are, so we hope we prepared for the worst and we hope for the best. We were practicing hard all week, probably one of the hardest week of practices we've had all year, just to get ready for this, and it worked out.
Well, it sure did, and I tell you, one of the things that worked out well tonight was Kearney's running game. I mean, whether it was Tristan, Corbin, even Carter from the quarterback position. Tell us a little bit about what you guys were able to do, because they had a formidable defensive line. Tell us what you guys were able to do from an offensive line standpoint.
Do our job. That was hammered into us all week. We trust those guys back there with the rock. They run hard. They run as hard as they can. And I love to see it every single time.
Well, you guys were doing a great job finishing your blocks tonight. Tell us a little bit. It looked like you guys were just getting stronger and stronger on the offensive line as the game was going on. Mike and Jim were talking about it on the broadcast. Did you feel like you were wearing them down a little bit? I mean, some of your off-season preparation in the fourth quarter, some of that off-season preparation paying off?
Definitely. On that last ham, we definitely noticed that they were wearing down. We picked them up, me and Tyrus. We drove a fella about 20 yards. And like the hand plays before that, they were playing hard, stopping us almost. But that play, we felt good. And like we learned, like we knew from that moment on that they were wearing down. And like that put a little extra fire into our bellies to just keep on attacking and maybe make a few highlights.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Hey, let me ask you about that, because not only did we have a Class 6 school, you're talking about highlights. We did have the Kansas City Metro TV crew here for Spectrum. Did you guys think about that at all? Did you guys know they were coming in, and did that give you a little bit of extra motivation knowing this is broadcast all over the Kansas City Metro?
I tried as hard as I could to not think about it. I don't like big screens. This is pushing it for me, but it's a cool experience. It's a cool experience for sure.
Well, I bet it was, and I know you've got your eyes set on playing on Saturday, so you may next year moving forward to play in college, and you may see a lot of cameras on you when you get up to that level. What do you think?
First, we got to play on Saturdays in high school. That's the first goal. After that, we can decide all that.
I love that. Well, congratulations on a super job tonight, super season so far. Kearney goes 4-0 on the season with a 38-17 win over Park Hill. This is Kelly Gentry with senior offensive tackle Joe Schranz.
Give me a full team of guys like Joe Schmo. I'll take him. I'll take him.
That was one of my favorite interviews of the year right there,
Yeah.
Coach.
After watching that, we may have to get Kelly Stepstool back out to interview Joe if we do that one again.
I've got one. Compliments of Coach Cash from last year.
But, no, what a phenomenal job by Joe in that interview. I know he was nervous as heck to be in front of the camera, but did a great job. And as you said, he is a road grader and absolutely gets after it and has several offers. He hadn't decided where he wants to go play next year. But the great thing about Joe is he's going to have several offers. He's a 4.0 student, so he's going to get some academic money somewhere as well. Talked to him this morning. He wants to go into some environmental science stuff, so some outdoor stuff that I'm sure he'll be phenomenal at. Was a unanimous team captain. So just a great kid, and as you just said, take 100 of those kids and win a lot of dang football games with them. So proud of the way he played and so proud of the way he leads. He's definitely a lead by example guy. He's a guy that kids look up to, and it's sad that he is a senior because we could use him for several years, and loved the Saturday football comment of, I want to play on some more Saturdays in high school before we worry about those.
Exactly. That was just so spot on, perfect. And I mean, they just came out of nowhere. And I was behind the camera on that, and I'm thinking, yes, that was awesome.
I kind of looked at Mike and been like, that's right. Good answer, young man.
But it absolutely is true. And you think about it, you go, wait a minute, play on Saturdays in high school. Oh yeah, now I know what you mean now. Yes, that was just terrific. But what a great guy, and it cracked me up when he said, "This is pushing it for me right now." I wanted to start laughing, but he was terrific, and I think we spoke to him a couple of times last year, and he was just always just great. But man, you get some of those answers, and you're going, "Okay, this is why we're doing this." And great kid though, just fantastic, and yes. He looks bigger this year.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, by a long shot.
Not just taller.
Right. And
he doesn't just look like a giraffe anymore. The top half's filled out and bigger and stronger than he's ever been. And I think that's obvious. He knew we were going to build this football team around him. We're running left quite a bit, especially when we need yards. The ball's going over there behind Joe and Ace. That's not a big secret, and so if you're watching, that's where it's going. But
try and stop it.
But no, phenomenal kid, and like I said, looking forward to several more weeks of getting around the ball behind him, and I know, and he'd be the first to tell you, he was so excited how hard our backs are running. I think our player of the week this week was one of our backs this week.
Yeah, Corbin.
And Corbin Emmons.
Let's show that. Look, nice job, Coach. Great transition. That's right where we were going. Look at you. There he is, Corbin Emmons, Conrad's player of the week, and thanks to Sean Barber and all the terrific folks over there at Conrad's and all the wonderful food over there. And looks like your team's been eating over there because they are a lot bigger. I mean, by a long shot. Corbin, you're right. And I remember watching him last year behind his brother, and there were times that I think in particular, even at the state game, that we were like, wait, which one is it now? We couldn't tell.
Yep.
And so he's gotten a little bigger, and I think he's going to get even bigger over for next year. But he is the kind of kid that I mentioned, the kind of running back who can sort of, you hear people talk about this, make themselves skinny.
Right.
In just the smallest of openings. Now, Tristan will just blow right through it, and he'll knock people over. But Corbin finds this way to just weave his way through these just minuscule daylight openings and find himself 15 yards downfield. Just that kind of running back.
Yeah, and Corbin's having a great year. He was almost averaged 13 yards per carry on Friday, which we were looking up. We're like, gosh, what is our average yards per carry in a game school record? And of course, Cameron has it at 14 yards. It's like 14.0. I think it was 13 point something, and Cameron broke it against Ray South and then maybe in my first year. Yeah. But so dang close there, and I know, he's always Cameron's a huge supporter of Corbin and comes to all the games and still coaching him up. And, you know, it's funny, we still have Cameron on our Huddle account. Cameron's still watching some of our film right now, so I'm sure Corbin's getting coached up on that. But, yeah, Corbin's just going to get better and better, boys. You know, I thought, was one of our best players throughout the playoff run there, made big play after big play after big play, especially, you know, you had teams who were keying heavily on Cameron, and then it's like, holy, you know, where did 28 come from? And now he's wearing 6. I've had coaches text me, I thought 6 graduated, and I'm like, well, that's the same name, you know, but but no, he's gonna continue to have big game after big game as we go forward here, guys, because he's lightning in a bottle when you hand it to him. It's a good analogy you said of he just kind of gets skinny. He doesn't need a lot of room, and then once he gets second level, he can run with anybody back there. So he does add that home run element, you know, that we have at several other spots as well. But you know, he can take it the distance anytime he touches it, and he's going to continue to touch it more and more.
Well, I thought it was a breakout game for him last Friday. It was like, oh yeah, there's that guy that we saw, kind of, you know, starting to show up and, you know, in the playoff run.
And it seemed like him and Carter on the option game are really in sync with that, like continuing to run downfield and keeping the good distance that they need for that. So, I mean, some tremendous plays out of that option.
Yeah, the option's getting better and better every week, boys. So you may or may not see some more of that tomorrow night or not. I'd bet on that you may see 1 or 2. But but yeah, we've got a good thing going in the backfield.
Do you guys want to talk about North Kansas City?
I mean, it's Coach's favorite week of
Yeah?
the football season is homecoming week because he's not busy at all.
He's not laughing.
No, he didn't laugh
They
at
should
that.
just rename it Distraction Week and get it over with. Now, love homecoming, love getting alumni back, love getting the community rallied around it. You know, especially here at a place of Kearney where there's so much tradition. You know, it is cool to have everybody back, and homecoming is a cool thing. And you know, I love the kings and the queens and all the things that go into it. The parade's awesome. You know, getting to see all those kids look up to our football team, and you know that part, because you know those kids are going to be future Bulldogs, and that part of it's all cool. All the distractions and all the things they want us to do and all that, when I just want to win the football game, gets to you a little bit, because I keep telling the kids all week, our job is to win the football game. It's not to decorate the floats or, you know, get the fancy shoes or get our hair cut during practice or, you know, whatever you think needs to happen this week. Because all everyone will remember is whether you won or lost the football game. And we've got a really, really good team coming in. Another Class 6 school that's built night and day different than Park Hill was. They lost to Park Hill 20-13. But had the ball in the red zone 3 times with no points. So I honestly think Northtown should have beat Park Hill. But Northtown is a ground and pound offense. They're 80% run. They're big, they're physical. They've got a huge athletic quarterback that runs and throws it. They've got 2 gifted tailbacks that they'll line up everywhere. And then you guys will see on offense, we call it kind of like every play they run kind of looks like triple option. They're going to run the orbit motions and the shifts and all the stuff to get your eyes in the wrong places to be able to run the football at you. So it's completely different game plan, completely different style of play. You know, they want to be the Class 6 bully that's going to pound it at you. So that's night and day different. And then for them defensively, they like to bring the house. They're going to bring 5 and 6 guys. We like to call it cat coverage out there on the edge, where he got that cat, you got that cat, I got that cat. So or we call it chili man sometimes too, where you know they're up in our chili and they're going to force us to make throws and put it in tight windows. And so we've got a dang good football team coming in here. They're 3-1. They should be, like I said, 7-point loss to Park Hill. I thought should have went the other way. So either way, it's a good Class 6 program that's coming in here. That wants nothing more than to spoil our homecoming. I can assure you that. So we've got to do a phenomenal job of keeping their speed. They've got more speed than we do out there on the field. So we've got to keep it in front. We've got to tackle it. You know, you've got to keep yourself honest in the option game, because they do run triple option as well. So you've got to have a guy for dive. You've got to have a guy for pitch. they keep you honest and they make you defend every inch of the turf. It'll look different, but you'll know there's another Class 6 school out there that's got some creatures at times. Yeah. We're not supposed to play against guys like that. And, so it'll be a good one. Love our game plan on both sides. I think we've got some really good stuff in. I like the aspect of, we take a lot of pride in our physicality, so I think we will step up to the occasion there and match, what they are trying to be physically. But at times, when you get to pick from 2,200 kids over 1,200, you get some better options on the O-line and D-line at times. So it should be a good one. They've got Dan Joyner's head coach over there, just came from Grandview. You saw the job he did at Grandview, turning that program around. And I've played Dan Joyner probably, whether he's been an offense coordinator or head coach, I think we're at 8 to 10 times now. So you have a feeling for what each other wants to do and how you want to play ball, but now you add the little wrinkles of, because you try to get inside each other's heads of this is what he would normally do, this, so it's cat and mouse game there as well. So it should be a good one. It's a good football team, and like I said, there aren't any easy roads on this schedule this year. So we'll go in and have to be battle tested again.
Kelly, we were going to talk real quickly about some rankings. Do we have time to do that? Yeah, Brian says yes.
Yeah, and I want to ask Coach's opinion on this. So with the football rankings, Kearney is currently ranked number 1 in the state in Class 4. It seems to toggle back and forth based on which poll that you're looking at. So, Coach, I don't know if you let's see here. Is that the oh, yeah. Well, and I also wanted to mention that the Kearney softball girls are ranked number 1 in the state as well. So not very often you get two number 1 ranked teams in the same fall sports season with football and softball. But, Coach, maybe inform the listeners and the viewers a little bit about how those state rankings are developed, because it seems like we flip with Lutheran North each week in football.
Yeah, there's several big media influences that, and I'm not sure how many there are. I think there's 10 or 12 different outlets throughout the state that every week their sports writer or whoever their guru is or whatever will rank the teams based off where they think they fit. With a big win over a class, we were 2 last week, but with a big win over a Class 6, we may have gotten an additional 1 or 2 number 1 votes out of somebody that flips it back and forth. All roads right now, you still got to get through the guys in green before you would even worry about who the 1 and the 2 teams are.
Right.
If that was to happen, Lutheran North is actually on our side of the bracket this year. So, whether it's us or Smithville or a really good Warrensburg or Harrisonville team that comes out of this side, I think you've got 4 of the top 5 teams in Class 4 are on one side of the bracket. So you may play 2 state championships before you'd even get to one.
Wow.
I don't really ever look that much into the rankings. You got to beat the teams on your schedule. As Joe said, I just would like to get to playing Saturday football games in high school. But we're always prepared for those teams on the horizon. We don't ever look ahead, but we always start to compile some films and things we can get of what that path may be. But we've got a long way to go before we, ever worry about any of those.
Don't want to look too far ahead. I was just going to tell Coach, as much as you were holding your breath about somebody getting hurt last night, I think Coach Birchfield for the softball team was as well, because those girls were getting after it on Powder Puff football last night.
Oh, I was worried about myself getting hurt. I'm out there officiating that thing, and there are bodies flying. There's hair going everywhere. We got breaking nails. Kearney football is physical, whether it's Powder Puff or Friday night football. It doesn't matter. Jocelyn Lincoln out there, we offered her the starting linebacker job this morning because
I think she would take you up on it.
And Coach Hedrick, one of our new coaches this year, was one of our sideline officials last night. He's like, I cannot believe the athleticism we have in our female population here. And I was like, guys, there's a reason we're good at several sports, and whether it's football, whether it's softball. Huge thing, as you said, both us and softball ranked 1. Our softball girls get in the weight room, they get after it as well. So it's a culture thing, and when you have that kind of culture, it leads to being ranked in the top 5 in several sports.
Well, you love seeing it, and we're going to open it up on the 27th. That's tomorrow night. Class 6 North Kansas City on homecoming with the Kearney Bulldogs. 102.7 FM will broadcast the game. We'll be out there again. I believe Jim's going to be back for that one too. We're not sure. Brian shrugged his shoulders. I don't know. We'll find out. If not, it'll be me and Kelly, and we'll make it happen. The pregame show starts at 6:40. Folks, don't miss that pregame show. There's a lot of interesting commentary from the coach and other things, and I do a little keys to winning thing, and it's pretty interesting. We get to learn a little bit more about the inside portion of the football team. So we'll see you out there tomorrow night with North Kansas City. Get your purple on, make it happen. We'll see you next week.